Hello viewers, welcome to Excel Star Learners Tutoring Platform. Now in this segment, we'll be looking at how to solve this 7th grade math GCSE math problem. Now students, I observed that why one of the reasons why students find it difficult to solve problems like this is because it's not a problem about it's not a question about how to calculate area of a shaded region, because what the question is all about is for us to calculate the value of x. Now, to be able to calculate the value of x, now the I think what is making it difficult, for students to solve questions like this is because we have here that if half the area of the square is not covered by the triangles, calculate the length x of each triangle. Show all your reasoning clearly. Now, when they say show all your reasoning clearly, that means you should show your workings, and then you should be able to explain, you must be able to give reasons, for each steps. For every step you take, you must be able to state your reasons. All right, so now let's look at the question. Now, two congruent, identical right angled triangles are placed inside a square. Now, this triangle and this triangle, they are two identical triangles. That is, they are congruent triangles. They have the same, now this is the base of this triangle, or we can call this the height. It depends on how we look at the picture. Now this will be base, and why this will be what? Height. Now, so the square has a side length of 8 centimeters. So this is a square, and we have inside the square are placed two congruent triangles. Now, if half the area of the square is not covered by the triangles, we want to calculate the length x of each triangle. Show all your reasoning clearly. All right, so in this case, yes, having known that to calculate the area of a square, we multiply the side length, the side length multiplied by the what? The side length will give us the area of a square. So the first step, the first thing we need to do in this case, which is step 1. So let's take step 1. Step 1 will be to calculate, the area of square. And we have the area of square. The area of square is length times length, and that's what? Length square. Now we are giving the length of the square to be 8 centimeters. So which means the area of the square, will be 8 centimeters multiplied by what? 8 centimeters. This would be what? 64 square centimeters. That's step 1. Now, step 2. Let's talk about step 2. Now we have that if half the area of the square is not covered by the triangles, if half the area of the square is not covered by the triangles, so what that means is that if half the area of the square is not covered by the triangle, so it simply means that the triangle is covered by 1/2 of the area of square. Now, since, let me put it this way, since half the area of the square, is not covered by the triangles. Remember, we have two triangles. That is two identical triangles. Then what that means is that then the triangles is covered, or the triangles covered 1/2 of the area of the square. Yes, 1/2 the area of the square. That is then the triangle covers 1/2 the area of the square. So which means that area of the triangles, that's area of triangles okay, triangles. That's the two triangles, okay? That will be equals to 1/2 multiplied by 64 square centimeters. 64 square centimeters is the area of the what? Of the square. So if the square is not covered by 1/2, okay, but yes, if the area of the square, or if half the area of the square is not covered by the what? Triangles. So it means the triangle, that's the area of the triangle, okay, will cover 1/2 of the area of the square. So which means this will be 64 square centimeters divided by 2. That will be what? 32 square centimeters. So this is the area of the two triangles. Okay. So now we need to find the area of one triangle. So let's find the area of one triangle, and that will be step 3. Okay. Now, so since now the two triangles, okay, we have two triangles are the two triangles are congruent, okay, they are congruent, okay, then the area, now that is area of each triangle, area of each triangle will be, so we have will be area of each triangle will be, so we are going to have area of each triangle will be 1/2, okay, 1/2 multiplied by, that's half, that's 1/2 multiplied by what? 32 square centimeters. Okay, this is the area of two triangles. So we need to find the area of one triangle. So we are dividing this value by what? By 2. And that's because the two triangles are identical. Okay, so this will be equals to 16 square centimeters. So this is the area of each triangle. Okay, so this is the area of each triangle. Now let's take step 4. Now step 4. Okay, so we want to calculate the length x of each triangle. And we know because the two triangles are identical, or they are what? Congruent. So that means the two legs of this right triangle will be what? Identical. That is, what I mean is that, when we say a right triangle, this is a right triangle. A triangle, okay, in which one of the angles is what? 90 degrees. So this is a right triangle. And a right triangle has two legs. Okay, one of the legs is called the what? The opposite. The other leg is called adjacent. So adjacent is the side beside the angle given in a what? In a right triangle, even though we are not giving angle in this case. Okay, why the opposite is the side which is directly opposite the given angle in a what? In a right triangle. Okay, so the hypotenuse, which is the third side of the what? Of a right triangle, which is the one we call the longest side, okay, of a right triangle. That is, the longest side in the right triangle is the side, okay, which is opposite angle 90 degrees. That's a right angle. Okay, so in this case, so for step 4, to be able to calculate the value of x, now because they are identical, so since we are given two identical what? Triangle. Okay, we are given two identical triangles. So which means we're going to have the base to be what? X centimeters. Then the height of the triangle will be what? Will be x centimeters as well. And we know that area of triangle is 1/2 times base multiplied by what? Multiplied by height. So area of triangle will be 1/2 times x, because I said the base and the height are identical. They are what? They are equal in length. So we have the area of triangle to be 16. So this will be 16, okay? This will be 16, and this will be x times x. That will be x squared. So we have 1/2 of x squared, okay? So from here, we say we have 16 equals to 1/2 of x squared. Now, let's multiply the equation. Multiply the equation by what? By 2. Yeah, so we multiply, that will be 2 times 16 equals to 1/2 of x squared multiplied by 2. So 2 divided by 2, that will be what? 2. That will be 1, rather. That will be 1. So in this case, we have 2 times 16 to be 32, and this is x squared. So we can write this again as x squared equals to 32. Now to get the value of x, okay, so what we need to do here is to take the square root of both sides. Okay, so we have taken the square roots, okay, of both sides. Okay, so we then have the square root of x squared equals to the square root of 32. So when we take the square root of a square entity, okay, the power word will disappear. So what we have here is x equals to the square root of 32. Now we can still this can still be what? Simplified, okay, because here we have a surd, or we have a radical, okay. So and when we have radical 32 in this case, so what this means is that to write this as a basic surd. Why I said surd is because this is a surd, okay, and we can write, there's one of the type of surd is what we call basic surd. So we can write this as a basic surd, okay. And to write this as a basic surd, now what is surd? Surd is the irrational root of a rational number. So the square root of 32, okay. Okay, we have to now to be able to write this as a basic surd. So we have to what? We have to break this 32 into 2. And these two numbers, that's two factors, that's the product of two factors. And one of the factor must be a perfect number. That's a perfect square. Okay, a perfect square, or a squared number, or a perfect square number, okay, is a number which can be expressed as a product of two two equal or even integers. Okay, so in this case, so we have x to be equals to the square root of 16 times 2. So 16 is a perfect number. Like I said, a perfect number is a number which can be expressed as a product of two equal integers. So we have x to be equals to the square root of 16 multiplied by the square root of 2. So the square root of 16 is 4. So we have 4 times root 2. So the value of x will be what? 4 root 2 centimeters. 4 root 2 centimeters. And that's the value of x. That's the value of x. And we've come to the end of this tutorial. Remember, don't forget to like, to subscribe to our channel. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.